Hey there, how's it going? Lee Hayward here. And right now I'm going to take you through a workout in my home gym. This is lower body workout 2B, which is a continuation on with the upper lower body split routine that I've been posting here on YouTube. So in today's workout, we're going to primarily focus on training the quadriceps, the hamstrings, and the calves. Now to start things off, I'm going to do a cardio warm-up using the elliptical machine. Now you can do whatever cardio warm-up that you have available. Obviously here in my home gym I have an elliptical, so that is my cardio warm-up of choice. But I prefer to use something that warms up both the upper and lower body. So that's why I like the elliptical with the moving handles, to just help to limber up the joints, tendons, and ligaments of the entire body. And I'll usually start with about 10 minutes of cardio as a general warm-up. And the first strength training exercise of our lower body workout is step-ups. And this is an underrated exercise. A lot of people don't use body weight movements like this and instead prefer to do weight training / machine exercises. But the basic step up is a great overall leg builder. It's going to work your quadriceps, it's going to work your hamstrings, your glutes, your hips, and it's going to engage a lot of balance, coordination, and stabilization as well. So just start off using your body weight. Get used to the exercise and warm up, and then as you want to increase the resistance, simply hold on to a pair of dumbbells. So in this workout it started with body weight step-ups, then I held on to a light pair of dumbbells, then a heavier set of dumbbells, and build up the resistance like that set by set. Now when you're doing step-ups, it's a good idea to alternate which leg you start with, and I like to do that set for set. So for one set, I will start with my left leg, for example, and then for the second set, I'll start with my right leg. And I like to alternate them set for set like this in order to ensure even balanced development between both the left and right legs. And the next exercise in the workout is the leg extension. And this is a good one for isolating the quadriceps. Now here in my home gym, I'm using a plate-loaded leg extension. And I have to admit that this is not the optimal leg extension machine. Ideally you would use a weight stack machine that would give you a greater range of motion, especially in that bottom portion of the exercise. But you can still make do with whatever equipment you have, and in order to really get a good contraction in the quadriceps, what I'm doing here is really focusing on using a slow and controlled tempo and holding that peak contraction at the top in order to get more time under tension in the quadriceps. And I find that this still makes it a very effective quadricep workout, despite the fact that I'm not really getting a big range of motion in the bottom portion of the lift. And with the leg extension, I like to start off light and just do sets of 10 repetitions. So one set of 10, stopping short of failure, increase the weight, do another set of 10, stopping short of failure, increase the weight. And I'll keep going in that fashion until I get to the point where it's hard to complete 10 repetitions. And then once I'm up to that point, I'll usually keep that same weight and do 2 heavy sets where I'm really struggling to grind out 10 reps. And now I'm going to do some stiff leg deadlifts to work the hamstrings. And I really like this exercise because in addition to working the hamstrings, it also heavily works the glutes and the lower back. So it's an entire posterior chain exercise. And when you get stronger in this movement, it's going to carry over into other movements as well. So you'll notice that your conventional deadlift will improve, your squats will improve. And this can also be helpful for athletes to improve athletic performance like running and jumping, as well as injury prevention. So it's a great exercise to include in your training program. And with the stiff leg deadlift, you really need to try and create that mind-muscle connection. It's not a power move like a conventional deadlift or sumo deadlift. This one is more of an isolated muscular contraction. So really focus on using a controlled tempo, feeling your hamstrings stretch and contract as you go through the range of motion. So to help you with this, I recommend that you just start off light and master the technique, and then gradually increase the weight set by set while maintaining that muscular tension throughout the hamstrings. Now how I usually set up to do this exercise is I'll do a conventional deadlift to just get the weight off the ground. And then once I'm standing, I'll focus on keeping my back flat, and I'll hinge at the hips, bending forward to focus on stretching out the hamstrings. So it's almost like bending over to touch your toes, except you're doing so with a barbell in your hands. So just like with the leg extension, I'm going to do sets of 10 repetitions and just increase the weight set by set until I get to the point where I'm struggling to complete 10 repetitions with good form, and then perform 2 heavy working sets of between 8 and 10 repetitions. Now, I know some people may be wondering what's the difference between a conventional deadlift and a stiff leg deadlift. So I'm going to demonstrate the 2 different variations for you. With the conventional deadlift, you're going to have an equal bend in the knees as well as the hips. And this is going to keep your back in a more upright position. It's almost like squatting with the barbell held at arm's length in front of you. So as you're coming up out of the bottom of the conventional deadlift, focus on straightening out your legs while simultaneously driving your hips forward. This is a much stronger deadlift variation, and it will allow you to handle heavier weight. Now with the stiff leg deadlift, you're going to keep your knees in a fixed position, and all the movement is going to occur at the hip joint. So focus on hinging at the hips and bending forward to stretch out the hamstrings. Now I would recommend that you keep a very slight bend in your knees, just enough to take some of the strain off the tendons and ligaments, and this will allow you to better stretch and contract the hamstring muscles. It's kind of like the movement you'd go through to bend over and touch your toes, except you're doing so while holding onto the barbell. Now I'm going to move on and do some work for the calves with the barbell calf raise. And this is a unique calf raise variation that you can do if you don't have access to a standing calf raise machine. How you set up for it is you're going to shoulder a barbell just like you would if you're doing a set of barbell squats, but instead of squatting, you're going to do calf raises. Now you'll notice that I'm standing on a couple of weight plates to elevate my heels, and this is just to get a better range of motion and more of a stretch in the calves as you do the calf raise. Now with this variation, it's an unstable exercise. It's not like doing a calf raise using the machine, which is going to balance and support your body. So you're going to feel the tendency to rock forwards and backwards, and you're going to have to use a lot of core stabilization in order to balance yourself as you're doing this exercise. And because of that, I don't recommend that you rep out to failure with the barbell calf raise, because there's a high risk that you may lose your balance and possibly hurt yourself. So what you can do instead is, after you rack the weight, perform single leg body weight calf raises. And for this one, you can safely rep out to failure and get an awesome pump in the calves. And this is something that you can do at home separate from your workouts at the gym. If you're trying to build bigger calves, then doing some single leg body weight calf raises like this is a great way to increase your training frequency, and by doing this exercise a few times a week, you'll regularly pump blood and nutrients into the calves and help to spur on some new muscle growth. Next up in the workout, I'm going to do some work for the abdominals with the hanging leg raise. And this is an advanced ab exercise that's going to really focus on the lower abdominals as well as the hip flexors. Now there's different leg raise variations that you can do. The hanging leg raise is one of the more advanced and challenging variations. If you find this movement too difficult, you could perform the hanging leg raise with your knees bent, and that would reduce the resistance due to leverage. Another leg raise variation that you can try is using the leg raise station. This one will keep your back stationary, and it's also a bit more comfortable to perform because you don't have to rely on your grip strength to support your entire body weight. And of course, you could also do this variation with your legs bent as well. Another leg raise variation that I like is the lying leg raise on the floor. And very often when I'm doing leg raises, I like to incorporate a variation where my body is vertical, like the hanging leg raise or the leg raise station, as well as the lying variation, because you'll get different muscle activation throughout the range of motion. When you're doing a hanging leg raise, most of the tension is in the top portion of the exercise when you lift your legs up, whereas with the lying leg raise, the majority of the tension is in the bottom when your legs are fully extended and just off the floor. And by including both of these leg raise variations, you'll get more overall abdominal stimulation. Now, in addition to the lower body exercises, I'm throwing in some work for the biceps and triceps, And the reason for that is because the way this upper-lower body rotational split is designed, we're doing a lot of volume on the upper body day with training chest, shoulders, and back. And rather than combining biceps and triceps along with that, I just want to space it out. So that's why I'm throwing it in here as an add-on to the lower body workout instead. So right here, I'm doing alternate dumbbell curls and focusing on supinating my wrists with each repetition. And all that means is that I start with the dumbbells facing the sides of my body, and then as I curl them up, I twist them so that my palms are facing upwards. And in doing so, this helps to get a better contraction in the bicep muscles. So with the alternate dumbbell curl, just start off light, do several progressively heavier sets, and work your way up to doing 2 heavy sets of 8 to 10 repetitions per arm. And to work the triceps, I'm going to do some lying dumbbell tricep extensions. Some people like to refer to this exercise as a rolling dumbbell extension because the movement is literally rolling the dumbbells onto the floor, pausing momentarily, and then extending them back up. And this exercise is a popular one among powerlifters as a bench press assistance move. And the reason for that is because it breaks up the eccentric and concentric chain. You know, that movement where you're going from a negative to a positive. There's a pause in between. And because of that pause, where we're resting the dumbbells on the floor, it creates more explosive starting strength. So it's a good one for building explosive strength in the triceps and thus helping to lock out heavy bench presses. So if you're looking for a unique tricep exercise, I highly recommend you give this one a try. The lying dumbbell tricep extension, aka the rolling dumbbell extension. So that concludes the lower body workout part 2B. In my next video, I'll be covering the final upper body workout of the upper lower body rotational split. That'll be workout 1C. So make sure to stay tuned for that one. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to post those down in the comment section below, and I will chat with you down there. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to click on that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all my latest videos. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you in my next video. Take care. Over and out. Would you like to build muscle and lose fat? Well, there's an app for that. Download the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Workout Training app. It's like having your very own muscle building coach right on your smartphone. You can download it for both Apple as well as Android. Just head on over to my website at leehayward.com to download the app.